Welcome to this episode of ACG's Growth TV. Today, we're discussing how to make the shift from a tactical approach to human capital to more of a strategic one with my guest, Sarah Grimstead, Regional Vice President of Sales for Insperity. Insperity, of course, is a leading provider of HR and business performance solutions and one of ACG's endorsed partners. Sarah, you talk to business leaders all the time, so I want to ask you first about whether you are seeing a shift in mindset. Now that we're 2 years out from the start of the pandemic, are you seeing leaders hold on to the tactical thinking that they used to get through the COVID crisis, or are they kind of coming up for air at this point and taking a more strategic view of their operations?
Thanks. So I think that what we're seeing, with our client base is that business owners are definitely moving to a strategic approach, but it's not as quickly as we expected. We see business leaders who are open to the idea of putting together strategic planning, but they're often pushing it into Q3 or Q4. They're still very much focused on the problems of today, specifically around recruiting and retaining talent.
And I was hoping you could talk about how a holistic human capital strategy differs from a tactics-based approach, and I guess ultimately what it means to be strategic when it comes to human capital.
Sure. So in HR, human resources is one of those interesting terms that if I asked 10 business leaders what their definition of HR is, I would get 10 different answers. And the reality is HR means something, human capital means something a little bit different to different people. And so human capital is always going to have a tactical component. It has to, right? Managing the payroll and the benefits and the compliance piece. But what we're talking about with strategic human capital strategies is how do you maximize your talent, your people talent to its full potential for the benefit of the business. And so business owners that take a very tactical, linear approach to their people strategies, making sure that they have a comprehensive benefits package and thinking that's enough to attract talent and to retain talent, giving just simple annual merit increases and not looking at how their true compensation package can be a strategic one. Those business owners get stuck in the tactical and find that they're often struggling to keep up with businesses that have taken a more strategic, holistic approach to an overall human capital strategy.
And what advice would you give an executive who's watching this, who hears what you're saying and wants to take a more strategic approach to human capital within her business? I mean, you touched on it just now with compensation, but is there anything else that you would point to in terms of thinking more strategically?
Absolutely. So look, a lot of bad things happened with the pandemic, but I think one of the good things that came out of this experience is it really shook up the business world and what we've always known to be true. Businesses that, for example, could never have imagined having a virtual or a hybrid environment have now realized that their employees can be just as or even more productive with the flexibility that comes out of a hybrid environment. And so my advice for business owners moving forward is embrace the unknown, be willing to think outside of the box for what can be really, really effective for your business moving forward. Getting back to normal doesn't mean going back to the way that things have been done. Doing that is probably going to limit your success in the future. But if business owners can stay really, really open to new ideas, listen to what their employees and potential employees need, and then be willing to act on that with the end in mind rather than a defined path, they're more likely going to get there. So what I mean is, if you can think that what I want from my business is to increase my bottom line profitability, what I want for my business is to become more productive in this area, working backwards from that and involving your people into a strategic solution on how to make that happen is the absolute best way to ensure your success for the long term.
Great advice. Sarah Grimstead, thank you so much for joining me on Growth TV.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.